everybody, Joe Conkley in the shop, and today we are lucky enough to have a visit from a couple of elderly prodigal sons returning to the home base here from Northfield Mandolins. We have Kjell Croce and Derek Smith of Northfield Mandolins, and I have a Northfield mandolin right here, and they brought a couple others, and we're gonna talk about what's going on at Northfield Mandolins these days and look at some mandolins. And Kjell and I worked together for 18 years here in the repair shop, and Kjell just recently moved on from elderly to Northfield Mandolins. And what are you doing at Northfield Mandolins?
Well, I'm working on a lot of mandolins now. Not so many
Imagine that.
banjos or guitars these days, but we do, in the shop now in Marshall, we do some building. So we build the Calhoun mandolin, which we're going to show you here in a little bit. We also are building the flat top octave mandolins there, along with some of the production for our higher end instrument, the 4.0, is done in the shop in Marshall. So
the 4.0 is a fourth rendition of the.
It's our newest version.
The new of like the high end mandolins with like the Big Mon, that type of a thing, or that?
No, it's more our version of the Lloyd.
Of the Lord. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll jump in here.
So
We have
Derek Smith,
Northfield. We make an artist series that we really made alongside with Mike Marshall, but also some of the other artists, Emery Lester and Adam Steffi, that we've worked with for many years. And the artist series has a couple different configurations. So that was more internal speak where we had, that was called a 3.0. But we started,
please call 32, Raul Mit, 32.
We started talking about it over the phones, 3.0 accidentally, and then so that got out. And so the fourth gen, sonically and spec-wise, is really our getting
I'm kind
back.
of busy right now, Jeff. Talk to you later.
Okay.
Thank you.
The fourth gen is us getting back to that original traditional lore-esque. We took the best sounding lores that we could find, maybe the best other really great high-end makers, and said, what do we like about these mandolins? And the fourth gen is the result.
Cool. So the mandolin that I was playing is a NF-F5S, the standard series. And so this is an instrument we have for sale here at Elderly. It's got the satin lacquer finish, no binding on the back, and those are the two appointments that I see that might differentiate for the most part. But what else? So where is this instrument made, and how does it fit into the line, let's say?
So we've got two shops. We have the Marshall, Michigan shop, but we also have a shop in Qingdao, which is where the whole business started with Adrian and some other folks. That you can check out that whole story on our website. But the S series is not our lowest end model, but it's our beginning of our F5 style line.
Yeah.
And we make we make more of those than any other mandolins that we produce.
It's the main series that we carry here at Elderly Instruments too.
And so this is a very much traditional, more lore-esque, flatter style arching, two-tone bar. So a fairly traditional built F5. Where our artist series and some other builds have gone, at 10 paces they all look quite much the same, but when you get under the hood they can change quite a bit.
Very cool. All right, so that's the standard series. What do we look at next? Calhoun?
Sure.
Calhoun.
All right.
Take it away, Kjell.
This is one of Kjell's areas of emphasis, new area of emphasis.
So this is the Calhoun. This is our sort of entry-level mandolin, but it is all solid woods and made in the shop in Marshall.
Flat back and
flat
side.
backs, flat back and sides. So yeah, there's no carved tops for these, but it's all domestic woods, maple, hardwood maple back and sides, as well as the neck. the fingerboard and the bridge, and the overlay here are walnut. And we call it Michigan koa, but this is actually maple here for both the pickguard and the armrest. We found some pretty flashy stuff that really looks like koa. But all the assembly is done at the shop in Marshall, and finishing, everything is done there, set up. So, and for someone looking for a nice starting mandolin, this is really good.
Yeah, so I have some observations here right off. So you got the Michigan koa, or the maple. Is this stained? Okay.
Yeah, there's a little bit of stain.
A little bit of stain, which matches up. It's real nice.
Yeah.
The other feature I see here is that's the truss rod cavity.
Yeah, there's an
right
adjustable truss rod.
Adjustable truss rod neck, but no truss rod cover.
No.
So the cavity itself is nicely machined and stained black. So it, it sort of brings in the black buttons there, and it's just a nice feature to differentiate it. It makes adjusting the neck quite a bit easier for the user and or any repair person. But I like that nice little feature.
A couple of other features that really I think are a big upgrade, especially on an instrument like this. So it has a cast tailpiece, a solid tailpiece, which adds some mass, which will help with the sound.
Same as the S series.
Yeah, same as the S series. So
same tailpiece
really
as this instrument.
Yeah, as well as the tuners. These are the Goto tuners. So you're getting some pretty good components here as well in this line. So.
And the big thing that differentiates on a lot of flat tops is the bridge is fully adjustable.
Yeah, it is an adjustable bridge.
Which is a real bear. If you don't have adjustment on your bridge, you're going through weathering and seasons. That's a very handy feature.
So most flat top mandolins have a one-piece non-adjustable bridge. So this has the same style bridge, but the base is obviously shaped quite differently to accommodate the shape of the top.
Yeah.
Another thing that I noticed, is I'd say the heel of the neck and how that transitions from the shaft into that heel, and how that transitions into this fairly square end to the body. That's unique, I think, and really cool. And I noticed that the neck has this three-piece construction there.
Yeah.
A maple center strip down there.
That can vary. We're using all good high quality maple, but depending on the thicknesses we might have in the shop, we may even make a one piece, we may make a two piece, kind of using the material to the best yield of what we have.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, so there's the Calhoun. Finished?
All spirit varnish.
Spirit varnish, as opposed to this is all nitrocellulose.
Nitro lacquer, yeah.
Yep, all spirit varnish, but it's a satin spirit varnish look. So it has a nice soft look, but again, not something you'd find on an entry-level mandolin. Really, the spirit varnish. What about the glue is used for construction?
Aliphatic resin.
Aliphatic resin. I asked because certainly I know that many of the other Northfield lines have the spirit varnish and the high glue construction, which are thought of as high-end.
Well, we have used high glue in the past, but at this point we are using just yellow carpenter glue. Yeah. Just to not, because I know that these words can, I don't know, a lot of them are catchwords. We've gotten to the point with all of our production where we've gone to just the aliphatic. Yeah.
Very cool. Very nice entry-level mandolin. All right, so there's two. And we got a third instrument here.
So here is the model we refer to as the Big Mon. And I think it's safe to say that this really caught on, I think, a name that any bluegrasser would immediately recommend. And our first bit of luck and good fortune, was Adam Steffi deciding that he wanted to play. And I think the story goes something along the lines of, Adrian got the call and was the Adam Steffi? Like, really? You know, so anyway, that was quite a few years ago, maybe almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And Adam Steffi picked one of these up and became, you know, a fan of Northfields and started playing Big Mon. What it is, so the difference between a Big Mon body and a standard body with us. Now, a lot of people ask, is the Big Mon body larger? Let me back up. The Big Mon body is slightly larger than our standard body.
So
longer,
this
wider.
outline is
Yes.
bigger dimensions.
So, I mean, the overall volume of air within the chamber is larger, generating a slightly larger.
Side depth is a little deeper.
Side depth is a little bit deeper as well, yeah, by maybe a millimeter or so, you know, not much.
Small dimensions make the big difference tonally.
Right. So bass response is increased, is a good rule of thumb just to follow.
The larger the air cavity is.
So
Everything else being equal.
this is, you know, of course the appointments are upgraded as well. You can see that the back is bound, and we are using a higher grade of wood generally. You know, although the wood's not certainly not bad
quite
on
nice.
that, but we're
Certainly
generally, and sometimes we'll even use some more extravagant stuff on the Big Mons as well. But same species, we're usually using soft maple on the S series or Big Mons. It is a lacquer finish as well, but built up a little bit more and completely buffed out to a shine. We do some inlay work here, generally, but really, well, then the James tail piece,
Slightly,
as you were pointing
yeah,
out there.
upgrade on the tailpiece.
You know, but a different tonal. By no means do I think that this is a better mandolin than the S series. A little more higher appointments, and certainly a deeper sound. But someone might want a little more focus in the tone and might like that. The S series.
The finish on the back of the neck, just a quick look, it's not a speed neck where you would have no finish on the shaft of the neck, but it is moving towards that, isn't it?
There's less finish there for sure, and then it's brought down with a little bit of steel wool, maybe some synthetic.
So the rest of the
stuff.
instrument is a high gloss shine, and this is that soft satin look to give it a smooth feel. And some folks prefer that all wood feel, that all wood smooth feel.
Last thing I guess maybe I'll say about the Big Mon is that we've gotten, I think, just to have something different than what generally is found on mandolins, at least production mandolins. So you've got the larger body, but also Engelmann top is what is almost always asked for on these, to get sort of the Engelmann will give you a warmer, puffier, more responsive. It's much lighter wood than Adirondack red spruce. Yeah, puffy. Friendly, as our friend Mike Kevin would say. So these, by and large, we're putting Engelmann spruce tops on these. So it's sort of the largest, roundest, most bass-heavy version that we make.
And you did mention what's on the standard series, softer Michigan maple. Is that so? That would be just. That's Engelmann, and this is, or not, well, that's the maple.
Right.
But the top.
Almost always Adirondack red spruce on these. We do get a call to make one in the Engelmann from time to time, but almost always Adirondack red spruce, which tends to be the stiff, dense, heavy side of things. These are almost always Engelmann, which is the sort of opposite end of the tonal spectrum.
And Adirondack is going to give you more of that focus, where that's going to be a little more warmth and bass.
Right.
And puffy.
Yes.
I'm going to remember that one. All right.
Amen.
3 mandolins from Northfield, which are all for sale here at Elderly Instruments. That's part of what starts this whole adventure off. This is they're hand delivered, but of course, because these guys have connections here, we get them back here every once in a while to hang out and talk. So there's that a little plus for us here in the shop. So unless you guys have something else to add.
No, man, other than just Elderly is always home base. You know what I mean? There's rarely a time when in my conversations with customers that me having worked at Elderly doesn't come out of my mouth. It's just like, it's almost as much of a selling point, you know, as to my pedigree, if you will, as working at Northfield.
Yeah, and of course we love the Northfield products, and this connection goes both ways For sure. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Like us and share us on Facebook, in the shop. See you in a couple of weeks.